Melbourne is edging closer to spending 200 days in lockdown after the Premier announced measures will last another week. Government officials are reportedly already discussing a further extension as concerns grow over new mystery cases. Joining me now live is the Melbourne Lord Mayor, Sally Capp. Sally Capp, thank you for joining us this morning. 21 new cases recorded today. We already have the 7-day extension. How are you feeling about the prospects of this being further extended?
Well, I don't feel good about it at all, Laura. Lovely to be with you. I know for many of our small business owners, every single extra day in lockdown is absolutely devastating. I think let's stay focused on the extension for the week, which we start tomorrow, and let's hope we see those numbers improving to give us confidence that we can come out of this as soon as possible.
Is the only real way forward now, do you think, through vaccinations?
Definitely. We see from the responses, not just in Victoria, but now in New South Wales and other states, that lockdowns are the preferred response to containing the virus. And it's now time for us to shift everything we can in terms of energy and resources, communication into the vaccination program. We've seen fantastic solidarity and unifying efforts here in Victoria, and it's now time for that people power to switch fully into vaccination. We are calling for Victoria to be the most vaccinated state, Melbourne to be the most vaccinated city, and we're really putting our efforts into it, Laura. We're launching an incentive program on Monday to motivate more people to become vaccinated, and if that's successful, we'll keep it going, because whatever it takes, it's got to be about vaccination.
And we also saw a number of state clinics open up in Victoria this week, some in the Melbourne area. What's been the response so far?
I think it's been terrific. People are doing the right thing. They're booking. I think the walk-ins, there are queues, and so more people are being diverted to the websites. Whenever there's supply, we see demand. I've got a 23-year-old son, Laura. He booked as soon as he became eligible. For many people, it's their life interrupted. But of course, for small business owners and their teams, it's more heartbreaking that it's life completely devastated. And if our long-term solution to the city being open and staying open is vaccination, we've got to get everyone behind it.
Well, let's talk about the economy. Figures suggest this is now going to be a $1 billion hit. It's lockdown number 6. Will businesses be able to survive?
Look, many won't. That's the reality. We're getting an enormous amount of feedback through our business concierge team of small businesses who are still grappling with the new programs that are being put in place to support them. It's highly frustrating. It's also a sense that we continue to put burden on businesses around whether they're eligible, filling out forms, waiting for funds to come through. There's no doubt, even in the calls I've made this morning, for many business owners, they would have preferred for JobKeeper to remain, for a program that was completely fundamental last year in bringing financial support, but also emotional and mental support, that connection between employers and employees. The preference would have been for that to continue, a system that was known, that was understood, and that they could just kick back into. Instead, we've got different schemes with different eligibility, and it's highly frustrating. I say every bit of support that can be provided to small business owners and their workers is appreciated. It's not that, it's about how do we get that support to business owners and workers as quickly and easily as possible without adding more burden. And unfortunately, we're still seeing that frustration amongst small business owners who are deciding every day whether they're going to be able to keep going.
Well, what's been the response from businesses? There are support packages on the table. Are they getting the money quick enough? Has this been enough?
It's a really varied response to that, Laura, and I guess that's the most frustrating thing. We want to get support to business owners as quickly as possible. We all want that because we want to sustain and support them so that they survive through what are the most devastating circumstances for them. They are forced to stay closed. I think, again, if we could have schemes where people felt that they could access that support quickly, where it was an easy process for them to undertake, and if it was a process that they'd already signed up for, they were already registered for, that they already understood, that would be perfect. If we're going to have continued lockdowns, then I think the federal government really needs to consider reverting to a system that is still viewed amongst our business owners as being the most successful and the easiest for them to use.
The Prime Minister made an interesting point earlier this week. He said that Christmas should be the deadline for the country and that he wants to see all Australians at the Christmas table this year. Sally Capp, we've got border closures, we've got a number of lockdowns right now. Do you think that the premiers and state leaders should be working towards a Christmas deadline?
Absolutely. We'd like to see it before then. What happens with the grand final? What happens with the Melbourne Cup Spring Racing Carnival? What happens with all of our Fashion Week events, Music Week events as we lead into Christmas? We absolutely want a sense of when can we come out of this. And I think if it's everybody around the Christmas table, that's lovely. But let's face it, if we can all put in a huge effort and open up earlier than that, it's going to be better for everyone. On the current forecasts we've seen based on our vaccination rates, we really are looking at the end of November to get to that 80% mark. And we're saying to everyone, please, let's actually smash that and get ourselves open and with confidence that we can stay open through the vaccination earlier. It's one of the reasons why we're kicking off this incentive campaign. We're doing comms campaigns. We're supporting lots of other organisations who are being proactive around vaccination, and everything in terms of even making spaces available, Laura, for extra clinics for vaccination. All of those discussions are underway, and it is going to be the biggest people power movement to make the biggest difference here in Australia.
Melbourne Lord Mayor Sally Capp, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.